Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR to sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Jesse Rudolph, Meghan coming to you live before the Avs take on the Predators. Actually, we're not live. I lied to you. This is pre-recorded.
Live to them.
That's true.
They're watching
They've never
it live
seen it before.
right now. Like
So-
this is happening for them right now.
Right. Whereas for us, it happened an hour ago.
Right. Yeah.
Pre-recorded because we're going down on the party bus, or at least I am. These two have to actually do their jobs. Sucks to be them. I will be on the party bus watching this game in the arena with the fans.
Is it like a party bus or is it like a yellow school bus like it is in the graphic?
It's like a school bus,
Okay.
but you get to drink
But
beer
party.
on it. So,
School bus, but make it a party.
yeah. The beer makes it a party, confirmed. I think they have like speakers in there and stuff too.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
There'll be music. It's pretty cool.
Heater.
Heater.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's like a,
No,
it's like
that's
a
party.
repurposed school bus.
That's party.
I was like half expecting like a Jeffco yellow.
Yeah, I think it probably looks like that on the outside.
They just
but
like rent them out. Yeah.
who knows?
Jesus.
Hopefully the Avs can keep the party going in Ball Arena for us and actually pull out a win tonight.
Great segue.
Avs lineup, is Curtis McDermott going to get in tonight?
Curtis McDermott is not in tonight.
Okay.
A lot of work on the ice for him today, though. So I really think it's a matter of they're trying to get some more conditioning down, but close, not tonight.
So same lineup expected. Well, at least for the dudes that actually play.
Right.
Pavel Francouz might be backing up again, but
He will be backing up. He was back feeling better. He told me he's back alive.
that's good.
Yeah, so he will be on the bench tonight, but it is Georgiev going in net.
Whoever performed a resurrection on him, can they go ahead and grab McKinnon while they're at it and a couple of other guys?
Well, he didn't sound sick or anything like that.
Wow.
Like, he was having his AG1 in the last couple days.
There
clearly.
you go. Bam.
Yeah.
He came ready. Got over whatever it was. Predators, it's an important game, right? Yes, there's a lot of context to the Avs. We've talked about it a lot. But at the end of the day, you look at the standings right now, Preds are a team in direct competition with Colorado in the middle-ish of this Central Division. Mm-hmm. I don't think I can bring myself to say it's a must-win, but is it a must-win?
We've been talking about the importance of winning these games so they don't create more challenges for them later on. So must is pretty definitive.
Strong word.
Right? They really, really should win this game because they'll make their life really hard if they don't.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think Megan put it perfectly. Like, you're sitting on the inside of a playoff spot right now. That's what you want. You have games in hand on everybody that you're staring up at. So, like, from a standings standpoint, I always hate having to say it like that.
Perspective.
Yeah, thank you. Standings perspective, it's not a must win. Like Megan said, you want to continue to bang as many points. And for my money, the Avs are about one healthy body away from losing that excuse.
Yep, agree.
You've had the context, and like I've been pushing a lot of that. That there's been a lot of context to this roster construction and the way that some of these games have gone for the last several weeks now. But you've got Lehkonen back, you got Nichushkin back, you got Evan Rodriguez back. All the talk was about how that top six was looking. Well, I mean, you're pretty much back to a really not that far-fetched version of it. You get like a guy like Darren Helm back, and I really do think that you kind of have to stop pointing to the injuries as much, especially when you're playing a team like Nashville, who is very much underwhelmed this year.
That's the conversation for me. With getting a body like Erod back, it was at that point where it's like, all right, is this team going to compete with Boston right now?
Right.
Probably not.
This is maybe a better way of saying it. Yeah.
But you look at a Nashville, you look at some of these other teams they have coming up, Montreal, things like that.
Arizona.
Those are teams that they should beat with this lineup.
You're back to having teams that you should beat and not be the team that these other healthy teams should be beating up on. You're getting enough eyes back, and I'm with you. I think the add back of Erod, and like I said, I'd like to see one more before
sure.
I really say
more is always better.
Right. Before I really say, like, no, there are definitively teams that you should be beating. But like you said, you really are. You're at the point where honestly, Buffalo is kind of one
Yeah,
for me.
agree.
Nashville, Montreal. Megan and I will be in Arizona here at the end of the month for their first trip into Mullet Arena. But again, that is a game that you are starting to look at these as, okay, you're back to being the favorites in these types of games.
Yep.
And you need to start peeling off those wins where you should get them, like Megan said, so you're not putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Because it feels like they're already seeing that happen. Like this Buffalo game in the rearview mirror was when you'd hope they win. It's a backup goaltender in a D-depleted Buffalo team. And now they're challenging UC Saros, who did start the year a little bit shakier, but is having better times. And this might be one of the better goaltenders that they've faced in net over the last 3 games. And they've had trouble offensively. And so that's why this is where they make their own challenges a little bit. It's an uphill battle. It always has been with the injuries, but especially now when, all right, so you don't get the win with Buffalo, you really need to get the win here, and it might be more difficult than it was with Buffalo.
So where do they find the confidence? Where do they start feeling like the favorites again? Now, I know they say they love feeling like the underdog or whatever, but where do these players, because again, you look at the goals that are getting scored, okay, Erod drops back in the lineup and scores. That's great. I love that. But how do some of these guys that have been slogging through these games get off their schneiden a little bit?
So you changed the question a bit there, so now my answer is going to sound shitty.
Well, then go for just chop the second half.
Well, because what I was going to say was the way that this group fights. So I talked to Mikko Rantanen right after they got back from St. Louis, and he said that them getting that win was a huge confidence boost for the group.
Sure.
Because they felt like they had been playing well. They just hadn't been able to get one over the finish line.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing can kind of be said on an individual basis. I didn't love that game against Buffalo. I know some other folks were higher on it than I was.
The post game didn't love it.
I didn't love it. I didn't think they were like bad. I thought they did some good things. They couldn't break through. And again, like you've just got a few of these guys right now who are just a little stale. Like, you know, Val Nichushkin, I can tell he's a little frustrated that he wasn't able to jump right back in the way that maybe he wanted to.
Yep.
Arturi Lehkonen, since coming back, hasn't quite had that same snap. Really, to me, like up front, it's Mikko Rantanen, and I'm actually going to give a shout to JT Comfort as well. I don't think he's gotten enough love.
He's been good
here in the last month, but you need some of these, like you need on just some of those games that we were listing where you should win. You need some of these guys. They need to have a big night offensively. I'm not saying you need to put up 6-7 goals. You need to get to 4. You need to get to 5, and you got to have 3 or 4 guys chipping in terms of the actual goal scoring. I don't care if one of them is Mikko Rantanen. I don't care if Mikko Rantanen gets 2. You got to have some other top guys get in on it, and that'll just kind of be a reminder, like, oh, okay, all right, we can score. We can put the puck in the net. We can still come in waves. That's how they do it. You got to have a good night where everyone is bought in, everyone's legs are moving, and you get a couple other guys on the score sheet.
I think we've been really respectful about how the injuries have hampered this team, but beyond that, when Jared Bednar was asked, how do you motivate your team? Like, what messaging do you give them to spark a fire in them? And he kind of chuckled because they're professionals. Yeah. It is their job to motivate themselves. And so you run down this lineup, and everybody does have different motivation. Contract year, Comfer. You've got guys returning from injury trying to feel like themselves again. Jean-Luc Foudy probably wants to stay in the NHL. Ben Myers is right behind him, also trying to audition for that role.
Val Nichushkin's trying to live up to a new deal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can point to any player and find a reason that they should be able to motivate themselves for this type of game. So injuries or not, that is still there. They're still professionals.
So a couple things here. One, I said this in my review video. I am really tired of saying, well, the Avs had good process, but they didn't win. We're in mid-December.
Yeah.
The time for moral victories is gone.
Yeah.
You have to start winning hockey games. Yeah. Clean, dirty, I don't care. Right. It's what's on the scoreboard that ends up mattering at the end of the night.
Well, and that was kind of the point that I loved that Mikko made when, you know, he kind of said, like, yeah, we knew that we were playing well. Like, we knew that we had some good process, but we hadn't won any games. Like, it felt good to have a good night and get the result we felt like we deserved. Because when you're not getting that result or the puck's not going in, it's easy to question what you're doing, even if everyone is saying you're doing it well. And so that's, again, like I said, it's an easy cop-out kind of answer. Like, oh, they need more guys to score. But, like, that's how this group gets their confidence back. You need a guy like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Val. Dude missed almost 20 games. I get it. You know, he's working himself back in. But you'd like to see a guy like Val tonight score a goal, have an assist. You know, he had a great assist in the last game. He's still really, really high end defensively. But I've been asking around a bit on Val Nichushkin this week, and just what he means to the lineup. And I asked Jared Bednar today, and he talked about, like, it's just great having a guy that goes out there and is gonna move his legs. You never have to question how hard he's gonna work. And you just want to see some of that get rewarded. Like Logan O'Connor's another guy that I think would be great to see him break through on a night like tonight.
Yep.
You're not looking to Andrew Cogliano to like generate a lot of offense, but just to see some of these guys who I think have played really well recently get rewarded. And again, Mikko can put in multiple goals tonight. That's not a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. You just want to see a couple more of these guys start to chip in.
Mikko's already going.
Right. See a couple more of these guys chip in, and I think that will be a nice little jump start that, hey, you've done good things, and you will get rewarded for it as long as you stick with it. That's something else Mikko told me the other day. We stick with it. That's one of their key identities.
It feels a little bit like the Avs need an easy one.
Yeah.
Which they create by their own play, to be clear. But that St. Louis game, you can't come much closer than that to throwing it. Right. Even the Philly game, while they did have a 3-1 lead, it got kind of squirrely in that third period. It wasn't their best.
And by easy, I'm going to read your mind a little bit here. He doesn't mean like, oh, they need to win 9-0 and have like a team lay down. Like, no, you got to get out. You got to build a lead. You got to get up.
Get ahead, stay ahead.
2-1, 3-1, and then put in an insurance goal, 4-1.
Yep.
Cruise into the night. Good, solid team game. Like that's what it means. Where you're not gripping the stick.
Right. Every
coming down the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
The next part of this, Megan, we talked about this a little bit on the post-game show, but chemistry. Look, part of the code here is getting guys back. They're going to be jumbled. What can they do to find something that clicks? Can Ben Bednar run the blender? Say that 5 times fast. Can he do something to find a little spark, particularly on that second line?
Is that the one with the Rantanen, Rodriguez?
Yeah, whatever you want to call
blend?
it. Yeah, right.
Because the way that I see it is where some of this blending is happening is a lot of players who have familiarity playing with each other from camp, preseason, before injured times, basically. That chemistry is and isn't an excuse there because they do have some familiarity that they just need to go back to the basics of what they know from having played with each other before. It isn't like they haven't ever. So other than just getting a few more reps in, which they've been doing in practice, there isn't much more of a remedy for that. Because I think if you continue to tinker throughout the course of a game, you might not find the solution.
Definitely a fair point. I would argue you might even find more problems if you tinker.
If you get really wild with it.
Yeah. So at a certain point, is it almost just not even thinking about the systems at all? Is it telling a couple of hockey players to say, hey, you guys know what each other do. Just go out there and play hockey.
Well, and they know the systems, right?
Sure.
So definitely think about it. And that's sort of where I say go back to the basics, and that is the systems. Because I think if they're, I feel like I'm speaking in hockey cliches, but I feel like
they're a hockey show.
Playing to their identity.
Getting pucks in deep.
Getting pucks in deep.
4 lines banging all night long.
Yeah.
Just stick to the process.
Play heavy on the wall. Get to the front of the net. Keep your feet moving.
But it really is, right? Because it's muscle memory a little bit. It's like less about who's playing alongside them and just going back to the muscle memory part of it.
It doesn't matter who that other guy is. Yeah.
Well, and so what I think Jared Bednar did so well in the playoffs last year was, again, it's the consistency aspect of it. You know who you're playing with. You kind of know what to expect. But he blends lines constantly, but he does it really well situationally, and that was where I thought he as a coach really excelled in the playoffs and was able to outmaneuver some other coaches in big games where he was good at the chess match moving around. I think what's been tough, to what you guys are alluding to, is that there hasn't really been the home base for several weeks now.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's why I think you saw last week Alex Newhook on the depth chart was listed on, I guess, what you would consider the fourth line. Anybody who watched the game knew that wasn't
really
his
happened.
usage. Yeah. But he was, it was because Jared Bednar said, okay, I've got Lehkonen, Nichushkin, Rantanen. There's a trio. There's a home base. I've got this line that I've been writing now for 2 months in O'Connor, Comfort, Cogliano. I'm not going to split that one up. That one's got a regroup point. And then you've kind of found this line made up of guys, to your point, Megan, who have some familiarity with each other from the American League of Foodie, Hudon, Myers, who are kind of like your under 8-9 minute energy guys, depending on how special teams go, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And then that kind of just left you with a random trio where it's like, yeah, this is really a guy who like we would want in our top 6.
Right.
With some extra guys that are kind of laying around. And, Megan, you and I talked about it's nice that Comfer now has, Newhook got Evan Rodriguez back because that kind of gave him a little bit of a pair. So Bednar's trying to find some stuff that, again, he can have like a little bit of a home base to. And you're right, the more practice reps they get, the better all of that's going to be. Because the constant mixing, I think that's what kind of started catching up with them there on that 4-game skid was like, what are we doing?
Everybody's just all over the place.
Right.
Especially with call-ups getting in the mix there, because those are really new faces. But now that there's some familiar faces returning, I think is where we start to see improvement on the horizon.
So one very specific case of this that I do think applies is the Avs have a lot of people not just moving lines, but moving roles.
Yeah.
And we've seen particularly centers, the guys who usually end up playing F3 in the defensive zone. We've seen you put 2 of them on a line, they both try to play F3, and all of a sudden a dude's wide open on the wing.
Right.
So you got to find a little bit of something where these guys know what their expected role is every time they step on the ice.
I think that's a great point.
Beyond that, Blaze didn't send us bets, did he, Yaya? All right.
Classic
I made
Blaze.
some bets. I took the Avs to cover today because I'm in the building, and last time I was in the building, the Avs scored 7 goals. On top of that,
it's not a bad reason.
We also got a career first goal last time I was in the building out of Ben Myers.
Ooh.
So either take Ben Myers to score or JLF for first NHL goal.
I will lose my mind.
Maybe now he does do it. Now that you've put that into the air, I can feel it a little bit.
It's
a little lightning in the air. Let's go.
Maybe.
Should be fun either way, whichever bets you're looking for. Gonna be tough to beat Saros, though. Might
true.
not be a high scoring game.
The Avs have beat the shit out of the Predators for
wrong.
8
You're
straight
not-
months,
it's not
and they
wrong.
haven't. UC Saros
Hasn't
hasn't
mattered.
wanted any of that. I think this is the first time they've played him in a while
for various reasons.
But no, seriously, I mean, this is a Nashville team that, with the roster the Avs have tonight, to me, a loss is. I'm with you. I'm not quite there. It's disappointing in the sense that, I do think that this Avs roster is good enough to just.
But sky isn't falling. If
Right.
they lose
It's
a
not
hockey
a
game
problem.
here.
It's not a problem. But it's just that sucks.
Now,
That
if
really
they
feels like a team that you can
lose
beat.
this one and they lose to Montreal.
Right,
Then you
right.
start going, okay,
Right.
hang on a minute. But we're not there yet. We're only at Nashville. Got to do it. First goal scorer.
I'm excited to pick, but I didn't have one ready.
I'll take Foodie. Now that
love
you
it.
said it,
Love
I'm
it.
going to take Foodie.
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to pick JT Comfer.
That's not that
think that's
boring.
boring, yeah.
You didn't pick Nico. For it to be a good night, I think it might need to be Kale.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good one too.
That's a great one.
He told me the other day that he doesn't think that he has it right now. So he's another one that I think a nice fadeaway crossbody wrister elbow in would just be nice and sick for him.
Just a boost. A little bit of a boost is what the Avs need right
Here's
now.
See, this is one of those same game parlays, and I know this one time, me and a group of Hannah, a couple of our friends were watching that show on Netflix called Nailed It.
Yeah.
Don't know it.
You haven't watched it?
No.
They take very amateur people, and they make them try to make these very elaborate cakes.
Ah, okay.
And we were watching it, and one of our friends, Ashley, she goes, I don't know. See, I just feel like I could do this. And I was like, right, you understand that's the entire premise of the show.
That's the point.
Is all these people think they can do it, and they can't. So I know what I'm about to say is one of those moments where this seems like such an easy same game parlay, but it's like a pre-made
the auto do one.
Yeah. Avs win, Mikko Rantanen scores, and the Avs win the first period is plus 310. Like, that's one of those things where I feel like if the first thing's going to happen, the other two things are probably going to happen.
Two of those three legs in the first period alone.
Right. And I just feel like, they all kind of go hand in hand. Like, if the first two things happen, you're probably feeling pretty good.
About that third one.
About the last thing, yeah.
True enough.
So that's an interesting one in DraftKings right now.
Love it. Any final thoughts before we get out of this thing here?
I think it's interesting. There's a little bit of an Eagles decor reunion happening because Nashville has up with them right now Roland McEwen and Jordan Gross. And we've seen Jordan Gross at the NHL level.
And it's bad.
It's not great. I don't mean to dunk on him, but
I'll dunk.
we also have Brad Hunt and
really
Andreas Englund in our decor. So it's just a reunion.
Sherwood got claimed, didn't he, when they waived him, or is he with the Admirals?
He didn't. No, he's with the Admirals.
He's with the
and I
Admirals?
think they recently recalled, sent back, so he's still kicking around.
Yeah. I'm just anxious to get down to Ball Arena and see what the media meal is.
There you go. You guys enjoy that. I will enjoy my beer on the party bus. We're going to get out of here. We will have a post-game show. It'll probably be like an hour after puck drop. We have to get back from the arena and all of that
Hour after the game ends, not an hour after puck drop.
Did I say after puck drop?
Yeah,
Whoops.
if you knew how many outtakes I had in my phone on a morning skate update, and the post-game show going live immediately after puck drop.
Yep, we're going live during the game, boys. All right.
That's right.
We appreciate y'all. Oof. We will be back later. Hope y'all enjoy. And if you're coming on the party bus, how did you watch this? Love you. Goodbye.